can be extremely difficult to get started as a new game developer, but one simple approach can make your first attempt at indie game development effective and consistently rewarding, and should help to avoid feeling overwhelmed by the monumental task of building an entire game from scratch, and hopefully prevent the dreaded game dev burnout. Creating a game in a modular way can be a very effective method to become skilled enough to make your dream game come true. Modularity refers to designing and building a system in separate modules or components, each of which can function independently but can also be combined with others to create a larger, more complex system. By creating multiple separate mechanics that can be used in various contexts, developers gain valuable experience and knowledge that can be polished and eventually applied to future projects. One of the key benefits of creating a game in a modular way is that it allows developers to focus on individual mechanics and refine them over time. By breaking down the game into smaller, more manageable pieces, developers can spend more time experimenting with different ideas and gameplay mechanics without getting bogged down by the larger project as a whole. This allows them to make mistakes, learn from them, and iterate on their ideas much more quickly. Let's take a look at the project I'm currently working on. I'm a big fan of top-down, action-adventure farming sim games like Stardew Valley. Now, I just recently started using Godot, and of course I want to jump right in and start building the game of my dreams, but I recognize doing that would be detrimental to my overall success as an indie game developer, and would surely result in becoming overwhelmed and burning out. So instead, I listed out a few of the different mechanics I would want in my dream game. There are the obvious things like player movement, the ability to interact with and pick up items and deliver things to NPCs. There would inevitably be timers detecting if the player accomplishes things on time, as well as status bars to indicate various elements in the game. I decided instead of trying to learn all of these things on the fly while I tried to make my dream game, which would likely result in me feeling disheartened as I ran into roadblocks and ultimately dissatisfied with the end result, I would start out making a smaller module that consisted of only a few of the mechanics I'm looking to build and incorporate. After all, I'm still learning the engine and underlying scripting language. This would allow me to set a clear, defined goal that would ideally result in a small, standalone game that is fun to play. My next module I made would incorporate some of the mechanics I learned from the last and would continue to build off of the code base I have already developed. After making a little overcooked style memory and delivery game that helped me get the basics of Godot and develop some important scripts I'll surely use down the road, I created a new scene, connected the two scenes, and started on my next little module. This one consists of all of the farming mechanics. Although this module is more difficult and cumbersome than the last and has required that I build out several more difficult mechanics, such as functioning inventory and hotbar, active items, usable items, an editable tile map, plantable seeds, and growable plants, just to name a few, it seems more manageable focusing on just this small module of farming rather than thinking of it within the scope of my entire dream game. I plan to add a little more to this module, such as the ability to harvest the plants and sell them for gold, and I'll call this farming module complete. This too will be packaged up as a small standalone game, and I will start working on my next module, which at the moment I'm thinking will be some sort of combat-based module. Eventually I will have a module for each core mechanic I want in my dream game, and I'll start to polish things off, tightening each module together and interweaving them so they all work together seamlessly. At that point, I will have a much greater understanding of what has worked well, what needs revamping, and what my limitations are. One thing to keep in mind is that game development takes time. It takes a really long time and a lot of patience. The Godot community has been an amazing resource with a really active Discord channel, clear and concise official documentation, and several quality YouTube channels dedicated to helping those new to the Godot engine become familiar with how it works and how they can get started on their game dev journey. I've used several tutorials I've come across on YouTube to get where I'm at now, and always have ChatGPT open to bounce ideas off of and get help working out bugs. Unfortunately, a lot of the really useful tutorials out there were made before Godot version 4, which has significant enough changes that make it difficult to follow along with the tutorial without some serious independent research and reasoning. The same issue is present when using ChatGPT, as it isn't even aware that Godot 4 exists at the moment. Because of this, I think I see an opportunity for me to give back to the community that has gotten me this far in my game dev journey, and I'd like to start creating up-to-date tutorials that lay out how I have created some of the core mechanics of my game as I log the progress I make. If you think you'd be interested in watching my game develop, or would like to see me make a tutorial for my inventory system or farming mechanic using Godot 4, consider liking this video and subscribing to help this channel grow. Also, leave a comment telling me what mechanic you'd like to see me cover in the next video I make. Thanks for watching.